Mike, first of all, I just wanted to thank you so much for taking time out of your very busy schedule to talk with me today. I am super excited to do an employee spotlight with you based on your current work that you do for SSAI. My first question I wanted to ask you was, what drew you to SSAI, and how does the company's mission resonate with you personally?
SSAI was basically drawn into it because it does have, its 40-year legacy of scientific and technical excellence, and basically, the company's mission to transform ideas into knowledge through innovation, inspiration, and discovery resonates deeply with my personal values and professional aspirations. I am very passionate about working here and the work that they do, and about remote sensing, outreach, education, and SSAI represents an opportunity to apply those interests in very meaningful ways, alongside, again, just experts in the field. And so, I've gotten to work with so many excellent, excellent people actually from SSAI, just going out and doing these various outreach events or, coming up with like educational materials and yeah, it's very impressive, and I really love it. And I find purpose in supporting the NASA missions, outreach and collaboration, and again, SSAI's commitment to providing tailored solutions for the unique needs of each customer reflects the kind of thoughtful, dedicated approach I strive for in my own work. I do really enjoy my time here and working with the folks from SSAI and from NASA, and I've learned so much. And truly, some of the my favorite times of my life again here at NASA and with you working with SSAI folks.
First of all, I really appreciate you highlighting your experiences at SSAI, and I'm very thrilled that you've had such a positive experience at the company. And I can definitely relate to that as well, since being here for about a year and a half or so.
Mhm.
Not only do we do such impactful work, but as I think you can probably agree as well, there's definitely a family feel. You really get to know your other employees, your managers, your company executives as well. And that definitely makes all the difference in relation to promoting a company that has such great ethics and values. So I very much appreciate you diving deeper into that. And I also appreciate you highlighting SSAI's mission and vision statements as well. So I think you summed that up very nicely there.
I tried.
So, yeah, absolutely. Well, Mike, I wanted to transition on to my next question that I had for you. And currently, as an outreach scientist, based on the work that you do, working with remotely sensed data, you wear many hats, whether it's from remote sensing and GIS to web development and even product design. Can you share how your work helps translate complex Earth science data into accessible tools for educators, scientists, and the public? And how do SSAI's capabilities in science communication, advanced computing, and innovative product development support you in tackling these challenges?
I should say I wouldn't be talking to you if it weren't for the amazing folks from Landsat, the Biospheric Sciences Laboratory, and SSAI. All of them have pushed and motivated me to undertake ever more ambitious project. I love working with Landsat and showing people the many ways it benefits them, from agriculture to water management and energy resources. It was in talking about, such topics to other folks through an outreach activity actually developed by Ginger Butcher, who is also with SSAI, that the STELLA instrument, the one that, that I'm also currently working on as well, was developed under Landsat. And, basically we had a handheld spectrometer that they discontinued, and teachers like, hey, we're NASA, we got scientists, we got engineers, there's obviously SSAI folks included in all of that, and we went out looking, and apparently and we were able to find someone, and we started designing this thing. And so this is created by a gentleman named Paul Morell. Now he is not with SSAI, but again, without SSAI we wouldn't have had that type of collaboration. Okay, so there you go. And this is called Stella. I don't know if you can see it with the if it's blocking it out or not. No, there you go. But yeah, so basically it's a do-it-yourself instruments, to basically make them accessible so that anyone anywhere on Earth could make their own instrument, start collecting their own data, and starting to understand just some of the fundamental principles of, like, the engineering, the science, the instrumentation that we have going on here. The SSAI does, of course, every day. And so, as we like to say, sort of step up to instrumentation, step up to remote sensing. Again, so you have, multiple SSAI folks, you know, at the tip of the spear as far as like research, data, science, development, all of that sort of stuff. And we want people to be able to just grasp that spear, if you will. Okay. So basically, I got assigned to oversee this project. And again, to my immense gratitude to Ginger for actually assigning me this project. And, I fell in love with it. As most people can tell. And I've had the opportunity, again, thanks to, the folks at Lancet and SSAI, to grow with this project, and have it really become, something very special. So basically, I couldn't do what I do without the support, knowledge, and backing of the folks from SSAI and NASA.
Wow, that's absolutely fantastic, Mike. And I really appreciate you showing a visual about Stella, basically what you just showed earlier, because, believe it or not, I've heard of that
Oh,
in relation to that project, but I wasn't exactly sure like how that worked and, what it is that you do with it. So I really appreciate you breaking that down. We want to be able to teach, any generation really, that STEM is very cool and it's very hands-on. So that's great to see that in relation to your work with the Stella project, how you and your team are doing that. So I just wanted to thank you for highlighting that and showing that visual as well.
no problem. And we should schedule a time when I can go ahead and demonstrate, some of the Stella to you as well. Because at this point, it's become more than just like spectrometers and all that. It's grown, and so it's become multidisciplinary. And again, we've had, farmers, teachers, lawmakers, scientists, engineers. They all have different ideas on the ways that they would like to use this and how they would like it for like outreach, education, so on and so forth.
That would be super cool, Mike. Yeah, we'll definitely need to do a follow-up talk in relation to Stella. So I'm looking forward to that. So
So
we'll
am
we'll
I.
definitely absolutely we'll definitely make sure to keep in touch, and it'd be cool for you to give a demonstration. I think that'd be fantastic. So so I really appreciate you bringing that up as well. And then finally, Mike, my last question I wanted to ask you was, and this was a fun question, just as a
Uh-huh.
side note, but the question was, if your job currently as an outreach scientist were turned into a video game, what would your character's special powers be? Whether it's remote sensing wizardry, GIS mapping magic, or maybe even web slinging data dashboards? And how do you use those powers to make science more accessible and exciting for everyone, from students to fellow researchers?
Yeah. Well, as a sci-fi fantasy, pretty much, mutant, X-Men type of nerd. I'm big into this. So this was not a light question. And in fact, I'm still mulling it over. you know, so there's many different aspects. What does one choose and all that. Really, in the end, I was actually kind of thinking more, again, more sci-fi, and more sort of illusionary hologram type of thing, as well as, even a little bit of, say, Charles Xavier-ish type of thing. So basically, one of the hardest, problems doing outreach, doing education, doing all of this stuff is trying to get what your point across. Why do you use this? What are you looking at? Why do you need a Landsat? Why do you need a PACE? Why do you need an AeroNet? Why do you need, all of these amazing, amazing projects and machines? And, and I come back to, developing, some sort of like tool or mechanism by which, that we be sort of universally appealable. Obviously, you can't do that. You can only make something so far, but it is quite fun. And that's not to say that Stella is or anything like that, but it is, I think, a step in the right direction because you get to customize it. You can use it for your science, you can use it for engineering, you can, learn a multitude of different things just, building one of these things. You have your data ownership, you have your, instrument ownership and all that sort of thing. But yeah, so just trying to make something universally appealable so that you can get your point across would be, you know, absolutely amazing. And then, of course, with that comes multitudes of different powers. So obviously, it would be a very OP character, so, so there's you know, again, choosing just one is hard, and if you had to narrow it down, I mean, I did go through the whole Wolverine. Would I have better perception, better smelling and sense? Because you're thinking about remote sensing, right? Which would be like sniffing, which would be, better seeing, better hearing, all of those sorts of things. And that's kind of what the satellites do. But we, of course, we quantify it. And that's really where it comes in, and getting that sort of details across again to a wide variety of audiences, because they might not be as, quite as into the X-Men or the sci-fi as I am. Just getting those points across, that would be the hard part. So, if I could be, say, Professor X and just implant that in, do sort of Matrix style type of thing, if I'm mixing up a bunch of, just different fun, nerdy genres, to give them that information, that's what my superpower would be if I could do that. But that would also be kind of boring, wouldn't it? Because then you wouldn't learn so much because other people have to learn in different ways. See, so I overanalyze it all the way. Like I said, you really opened up Pandora's box with that question.
Oh.
So
I was going to say, Mike, based on the answer that you provided in relation to your interest with sci-fi, that's very interesting. That's very fascinating, and I appreciate you showcasing your creativity and in relation to that question. So it's definitely great to see some things that you're thinking about and some cool things to implement in the future. And I like what you said as well in terms of making sure that everybody understands the data, but also knows how does it relate back to them? And that's definitely a big key question. How is it going to benefit them? What is the purpose? Those are the kinds of questions you have to ask yourselves. And, a lot of times if people don't see the purpose with something, well, they might not be as engaged. And everybody learns in different ways and at different rates. So I know I learn best through visual aids, for example. So definitely being able to tailor it to multiple different audiences is very key. So, and I'm very grateful that you and your team are currently doing that right now, which is super, super cool. So looking forward to you being, Professor X, if you will, as you say in the future.
Well, and again, I do want to say a massive thank you to, the entire like Landsat team. Again, this wouldn't have come about if it weren't for Landsat, the Landsat Communications Group, all of these folks, and then, just the myriad of folks just throughout NASA, throughout Goddard, throughout SSAI that have been so supportive. It just wouldn't have come to fruition. And again, it's like you get into work with some of the best people in the world, and some of the brightest minds, and it's just again a fantastic project and a fantastic opportunity, and I'm very, very grateful to everyone who's even remotely helped me with this thing. So without getting a little misty eyed, but no, it's an amazing experience, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. So.
Wow, I was going to say, Mike, that is, again, so heartwarming to hear that, again, you've had such a positive experience and how you were able to thank your team. And yeah, I agree. Like I said, we're working with some of the best people around. And it just definitely warms my heart that you've had such a positive experience. And I really appreciate you sharing that. And again, Mike, as I mentioned previously, I just wanted to thank you again so much for taking time out of your very busy schedule to talk with me today. You and your team's work is absolutely incredible, and you are really making an impact and a difference globally. And everybody around the world is going to continue to be fascinated by the great work that you and your team do. So please definitely keep us posted about additional project insights that come through and any other important discoveries. And we cannot wait to highlight them.
Sounds good. I definitely will. And again, we'll have to schedule a time to meet up so that you can mess around with these. And again, find different ways that we could hopefully, showcase, again, one of the other things we want to do is really showcase what we do at SSA, what we do at NASA, what massive projects are doing, and that's really what this helps do. It's nothing like seeing the data in real time, and that's again, you can't put a price tag on that. That just that sort of tactile feeling of being able to again go out and hold something and measure it and have that right in hand, as opposed to obviously you can't take like a Landsat inside of a it's a or some of these other heavier, more expensive pieces of equipment, but you can at least relate what the heck they are measuring to others, and that's really part of one of the concepts we want to get down.
That's truly fantastic. Well, Mike, I was going to say we'll definitely follow up and we'll make sure to do another, video in relation to that. I think our audience is very much going to enjoy that. So for our audience and viewers who are currently listening to this employee spotlight, please definitely stay tuned for a follow-up conversation with Mike, and let us know if you have any questions, and please definitely get involved with us. So, Mike, again, thank you so much for your time today. I greatly appreciate it.
You're very welcome.